This is Tony Chimmel, and I'd like to introduce the hosts of the Game Marks podcast, George Feis and Johnny Clash.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast, where each and every week we take a deep dive into the good, the bad, and the awesome of all things wrestling video games. My name is George Feis.
And I'm the man they call Johnny Clash, and today we are playing Hulkamania Wrestling, an old Java game from 2009. We also discuss the status on Free Status, AEW Figure Fighters, and more.
And as always, please make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and a review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you choose to listen to your podcast. Make sure to follow along on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. And don't forget, you can be a part of our brand new Patreon, patreon.com/podexchange. That's PODXCHANGE. It is the Game Marks podcast. It is going postal. It is state of affairs. We have a whole lot of content from all shows, collaborated stuff, and more. Pod Exchange, Patreon. Man, oh man, very excited about that. John.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
This is months of planning in the works.
I'm glad we finally pulled the trigger on it, and we're all happy under one roof, and we could bring you guys just pure entertainment. And we're the whole Pod Exchange, us with Dylan and Shoes are in a group chat that is just firing on all cylinders every single day.
We've all got ideas. We've all are pitching different things. It's great.
Yeah, I very much enjoy it, and hopefully, and it will translate to the content we're going to put out for you guys. So it's going to be great. Let's talk about last week, Saturday Night Slam Masters.
Man, oh man. It is still, I feel like, one of those hidden gem games where the people who knew about it,
if you know, you know,
love it, and they love it to this day. But I feel like there are still some people who haven't found it yet. And when they do, man, oh man, that's going to be a treat for them.
Now, WCW Worldwide on Twitter, Brian Barrera, a good friend of ours, said, "Did you know Saturday Night Slam Masters has an arcade port available on the Capcom Arcade Volume 2 collection on all the modern consoles? So if you do want to go play Slam Masters and you don't want to load up an emulator, you can go search out that Capcom Arcade Collection Volume 2 and load her up. You could play it. Pretty cool.
Might be looking into that this weekend.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about what's the status. We brought this up last week, how he was permabanned from WWE 2K for the way he was uploading his creator wrestlers and kind of coloring outside the lines. He was permabanned. Everything was wiped. His levels were all done, and he shared an update this past week on April 26th. WWE Games and I have met on how my mods can impact the game. We've come to an agreement, and a fair one at that. Thank you guys for the support. Thanks to all of you, my ban has been lifted. I am free. With a picture of Uncle Howdy holding the lantern. He's ready to go. He's back in it. And then he wrote, "I should have an update for you guys soon about what I can do and what I can't do. My download counter has restored, but my uploads are still gone. WWE Games is working on bringing some of them back." So everything is back regarding his levels, but not his creator wrestlers. I get it. I guess they don't want the ones that were the ones that got him in trouble still up there. Or maybe they'll allow him to tweak them before re-uploading. But pretty interesting to see. Everyone was rallying behind Status. I mean, we were rallying behind Status. Everyone was rooting for him because content creation is half, at least, of the WWE games. And,
absolutely.
You know, there were some things done by him that weren't exactly proper, and WWE 2K, I shouldn't say WWE, 2K took exception to it and put the permanent ban on him, but they made it right. So hopefully we could stay within those lines now, and it seems like everything's going to be peachy from now on.
Yeah, I'm excited to see maybe what a new wave of what's the status content looks like post ban.
Yeah. Very talented it's still going to be great stuff. So
Oh, absolutely.
I'm
just excited to see how they approach things from here on out.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many of the ones I downloaded were actually there. So yeah, always the best. Now, another game that we've talked about briefly because me and you both were on the, I don't know, I guess we could say it now. We were the testers for AEW Figure Fighters, and we both actually really enjoyed this game. I think a lot of people we know within listen, all you have to do is sign up, and they pretty much gave it to you. There's no real secret to it. I just didn't know how much we actually could share from the game. But the official launch date of Figure Fighters is going to be May 15th. That's in 2 weeks. And the pre-order is available now, so it will download to your phone on that day. They did a cool reaction video with the AEW superstars seeing the game for the first time, looking at their characters. I actually sent a screenshot to Statlander saying there's no way you're actually looking at this game. They definitely showed you a picture of a puppy because you're very excited here. Because, I don't know, there's just no way. But pretty cool game. I think everyone should check it out because where the other AEW games lacked content, I guess you could say, or just fun in general, they're all just mashers or carbon copies of other games. This one is very unique. It's a very nice looking game. It's a little different.
If they
worth checking
handle the updates the way that some of the other more successful wrestling mobile games have gone, Supercard, Champions, things like that, I think that this game could have a longer shelf life than what we've seen in the past from the mobile AEW games, especially because this one feels more, I don't know what the right word is. It's
complete.
Polished, complete. It doesn't feel like a reskin, which I know that we've talked about so many times.
I'm just happy it's not in a cartoony style like the other ones.
Yeah, it's got a unique style to it, but it's a style that works.
Yeah. It reminded me of there was a game we played not too long ago. Was it on WWE Undefeated, I guess? The one where you were Stone Cold and you were going through the table. Mayhem. Yeah, reminded me a lot of Mayhem. So we know that game lasted a while. So this maybe is on the upswing for AEW mobile games. So be on the lookout. Load it to your phone. Go play it.
And then, comes out May 15th, 2024, which means May 15th, 2025, we'll be able to cover it.
Oh, there you go. All right. GMP 24, our WWE 2K Universe Mode Episode 3 is dropping this Wednesday on YouTube. Great response to the first two. I'm having so much fun doing it. You're having so much fun doing it.
It's the best.
We're working towards our first pay-per-view, Reloaded, which is coming out in 2 weeks from today. I can't wait. I'm so happy. We are back, baby.
It is. It's such a weird feeling to be as excited to do a weekly show. That's something that we used to not dread because it was never not fun, but it used to just be so much more work because we used to have to plan so much more and do so many tiny little edits to get the scenes that we wanted to happen in No Mercy. Where this is just such a different animal because it's all already built into the game. Where it's just wow, we should have just been doing this the whole time.
I don't know what we were thinking. Recording the gameplay, then recording the commentary over it, then exporting it, then upload. Oh my god, it was a disaster. We're rocking now. Universe Mode did most of the job for us, and yeah, check it out on YouTube. If you enjoy Universe Mode, it's 3 matches a show. Pay-per-views will be a little bit longer. Snackable episodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to keep going with that until it's named GMP 25 next year. But George, we're playing a game here today. Do you have your BlackBerry Storm ready or your Curve or whatever that big bulky one was?
I left mine at home. Can I borrow yours?
Nope. We're going to play Hulkamania Wrestling. Are you ready for the deep dive?
You really have a choice. You just got to look over your shoulder.
Looking to add the newest wrestling figures to your lineup? There's no better spot to pick up your next figure than the Wrestling Collector Shop.
Started by collectors for collectors around the globe, Wrestling Collector Shop has been serving the fans the latest and greatest in wrestling action figures since 2002. So the next time you're looking for the newest wrestling collectible to add to your collection, make sure go to WrestlingCollectorShop.com and use code GameMarks to save yourself 10% on your order.
That's 10% off your order with code GameMarks at WrestlingCollectorShop.com.
All right, the deep dive is brought to you by our friends over at Wrestling Collector Shop. Make sure to use code GameMarks to save yourself 10% on your order of Mattel Elites, Ultimates, basics, major bendies, everything in between. Guys, WrestlingCollectorShop.com. Use code GAMEMARKS for 10% off your order.
Everything the Ed just told you.
Yep.
You want to know what we're giving away this week, George?
Nope. I'm sad now. Yes. What are we giving away?
Last week we gave away an Elite X-Pac figure. This week is this beautiful WrestleMania 40 John Cena, and if you're into it, you could build a Nicholas. I don't know which piece this is. I can't tell from here. But John Cena is this week's prize. All you have to do is go find our pinned tweet or post, whatever X calls it now. Give it a repost, retweet, whatever you want to call it. Follow us, and you're in.
Re-exit.
Re-exit, and you're in.
Man, oh man. All right, here we go, John. I'm not sure if I'm ready for this one. Hulkamania Wrestling, released on March 11th, 2009. On cell phones, it is a Java-based game published by Gameloft and other games in the wrestling universe in 2009. You've got the mobile TNA wrestling game. You've got WWE Legends of WrestleMania, WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2010.
Now, this is the TNA game, not the good one that we played, that we loved, that looks like a legit wrestling game. This is the one that is similar to maybe like a DS game.
I'm
Got
gonna
the text on the screen. I think the Cornette is in it, and they look like little those mini like WWE action figures. It's not a good game at all.
Oh yes.
So that's what's in the mobile sphere in 2009. Legends of WrestleMania, we covered that. SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, we know, we love that. But this game was announced in April of 2008. Hogan announced that he would lend his license to video game developer Gameloft to create Hulkamania Wrestling for mobile phones. Hogan stated in a press release that the game would be, ready for this? True to his experiences in wrestling and use his classic moves like the double hand choke lift and strong clothesline. Those are from Hogan's lips to our ears.
When I think of Hulk Hogan, I think of the two most famous moves in his repertoire. Some may say the big boot and leg drop, but no. I say strong clothesline and double hand choke lift.
And if you play the game, neither of those are an option, but there is a variation of like a choke bomb,
a choke buster, and a what's the code breaker power bomb?
Oh, I don't even know. It was the moves are out there. We're gonna get to them in a little bit, but they were really out there. I wonder if because it's an unlicensed game that they didn't want to use actual wrestling names for some reason. Like maybe they couldn't use like Body Slam and all that, thinking WWE doesn't own that, I don't think.
I just am so confused by so many of the choices that this game made.
Yeah.
And
well,
it's almost too.
We also question the choices Hulk Hogan has made. So.
Yeah, but some of the things that are in this game are almost like you can't like pin down one thing. Like there are so many. It's going to be a hard episode to get through, not because the game is necessarily bad. We'll talk about that, but because it just makes odd choices in a lot of different ares.
It's got that just bootleg feel to it from the start.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm trying real hard to find the name of that power bomb.
Yeah, the description says, when professional wrestling itself is threatened by darkness, the only hope is for the sport's immortal hero, Hulk Hogan, to return to the ring, set things right. You got the name?
Spine bomb.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Join the Hulkster in the ring for the wildest wrestling contest ever. Get ready for an intense and spectacular fight against 7 outrageous wrestlers. Hit him with the head splitter, dodge the opponent's clothesline, then finish him off with a big foot. Not big boot, big foot. Just with a big foot.
Take off your boot.
Hit him with that
Just
big
hit him with the
foot.
big foot. I almost want the next line to say, once he's down for good, go for the pin and a 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know why. I was expecting it to have the wrong count.
Once he's down for good, go for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Ding. Victory is yours, at least until your next match. ...
And there's a point where it almost feels like that next match may it's just
Yeah.
they just keep coming.
So we'll talk about that quick here. So the game modes, you have quick play, which is where you pick your wrestler out of the 8, and then it randomly picks you an opponent. Then there's Hulk Story, which you are Hulk Hogan. It is, 8 stages, I believe we went through? We did the whole thing in one sitting. Because I think King of the Ring was 7. So the premise of the whole story is the wrestler Darkness, who is a blatant ripoff of Undertaker, fresh with his Ministry of Darkness promo picture and everything. He is just bad for wrestling, and you want to get him out of it. So,
But you don't know why.
Yeah,
you just
they don't say why. His goons come after you. You take them out one by one in individual wrestling matches, but then there's kind of like an over-the-top gauntlet challenge, and that leads to the match with Darkness on top of a skyscraper.
Titan Tower.
For some reason. Very, it seemed very Def Jam's Fight for New York, like that last stage where you're fighting in that burning building.
I almost feel like that's insulting to Def Jam Fight.
It is. It is. But there's also tournament mode, Ring of Fire. This is a match also in Hulk Story where the outside of the ring is on fire. You don't win by just tossing your opponent into the fire, but if they get tossed into it, their health just drains. And when they get back in, you could just pin them and they're done.
The basic animation, once you get thrown out of the ring in a regular match, is you get thrown out of the ring, the opponent will writhe on the ground back and forth, roll back and forth for maybe a second, and then get back in the ring. That same animation plays in the Ring of Fire match, but you take a quarter of your damage every half a frame of animation. So you get thrown out once, 3/4 of your health is gone.
It's also really easy to just kick out of a pin and just keep going. All right, so
I wonder if that's what the difficulty adjusts.
I would assume so. Well, remember the last opponent I had in Hulk Story before Darkness? I got destroyed. I couldn't even get him moving.
Was it Slashback?
It was Samoazilla, I think.
Oh, Samoazilla.
Sumozilla.
Oh, yeah, we said it looked like Samoa Joe. But yeah,
whatever. Yeah, I think that's also the difficulty. But, man, oh, man. This one, it's just... I appreciate having the story mode in there with the little blurbs, with the announcer that looks like Jim Ross.
That's not
giving his little quips and all that. It's fun. It's cool. I'm glad it was there.
It's Cowboy Jack, John. It's
Jack.
It's not JR.
I'm glad it was there. Like we said, the whole game just feels like a bootleg of a game.
It's from start to finish, the game is just rough. I'll say this. The slightly redeeming thing is the animations for what they are. They're smooth. They're clean.
The game looks nice.
They look like weird combinations of wrestling moves, but they're not. Yeah. It's not terrible.
Oh, what I was going to say is this is a Java game. Java doesn't really exist anymore. We had to play this on an emulator. An emulator within an emulator, actually. So pretty much it gives you the cell phone pad on the screen. So I can't sit there and click individual things. So I mapped it to an Xbox controller, which I think gave me an advantage and let me run through it a lot easier. I was kicking out every pin because I was mashing. But I cannot imagine having a BlackBerry in 2000. First of all, I can't imagine having a BlackBerry again because
Period.
those are brutal.
Full stop.
Sitting there like at work, in class, or just like on the toilet and just mashing the crap out of these little buttons because you have to do moves. Like you have the arrows on the buttons, like on the two and whatever, but then you also have the moves in between. So you're sitting there with two fingers on this small keypad, whether it's a BlackBerry Curve or whatever it is. And the BlackBerries had full keyboards. They didn't have just like 1, 2, 3, 4. They had the full keyboard. So you really had to figure it out on those little keys.
I actually
can't
have
imagine.
to look up what.
Look up like the BlackBerry Curve. I think that was the most popular one.
Yeah, man. I
love
forgot.
the BlackBerry Curve with the little ball.
I forgot when phones looked like this.
This phone was awesome. I told you before, I also had the Storm that had the touchscreen that clicked. It was awful. Real awful.
Let's see what that one looks like.
Oh,
yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
If you touch something on the screen, it wouldn't like pop up until you clicked it. Like the screen had like a little
that's weird.
click. It was awful. So bad.
Real-time haptic feedback.
Yeah, not good. But let's talk about the locations here. You had Death Arena, Las Vegas, and Skyscraper. So 3 different arenas. They all looked, they were very similar, just a few different backgrounds here and there. And Death Arena had nothing death-like about it. It just looked like a wrestling arena. Las Vegas, you could imagine, lights and flashiness. And Skyscraper was the top of a building.
It's where you end the game.
It's where you end the game. It also showed you the capacity of the arena, like how many people were there, and the mood of the arena. Like, were they hyped? Were they pleasant? Which I don't know where that comes into play.
Or how that plays into any aspect of the game, because
it doesn't.
The angle, the angle of the matches doesn't really give you a lot of leeway to like see the crowd. So like you see the crowd on your entrance, and then that's really it.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at BlackBerries from 2009, and they have the horizontal screen. So I'm not sure how this game even really played on there, unless it was the Storm. I don't know. I'm just going to think cell phones in 2009, not specifically the BlackBerry. That's just the one I saw when we get down to the ratings.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe the Verizon Chocolate or whatever the hell was out then. Let's talk about the roster here. There's 8 wrestlers here, one being Hulk Hogan. There are 7 different screenshots here of wrestlers, but their counterparts, like their sprites, looked very different from what their headshot looked like. Like AJ Muerte is very clearly a Rey Mysterio ripoff when you go on the character select screen.
Yeah.
The wrestler himself, it's not. It's a guy in a brown mask.
Yeah, brown mask. Almost looks like he's
Sultan or something.
Yeah, like military.
Yeah, weird.
Some type of military character, but not anything like what this character select icon looks like.
And then Axis looks like Kerry Von Erich, I feel, in the headshot. Like the same face. They took a lot of faces and then worked around them. Like they had different hair, like they pixelized everything. It almost reminds me, AJ Muerte specifically almost reminds me of Raw 2 on Xbox.
Oh.
When you used to make Rey Mysterio's like alternate, because his icon for some reason was just a plain mask. Do you remember that?
I do.
It wasn't the full Rey Mysterio mask. He had it in game. I'm going to look it up right now. But his character select picture wasn't for some reason.
Raw 2, Rey Mysterio.
I'm trying to find it. But I don't know. Very weird. Breck Wild is very clearly Dave Bautista's head, I feel. But then they put like crow face paint on it with.
But then the actual in-game model looks kind of like Randy Orton trunks,
yeah,
like
the flame trunks and all that. Then there's Darkness, who's your arch nemesis, which is to a T. The
It is Taker.
Undertaker's
Like,
WWF Attitude picture. And then they just give him shorter hair and a singlet.
it's, oh man.
There's no question about it. That's
And then there's this Hulk Hogan guy. Looks just like Hulk Hogan.
I want to know, because this is the same as the load screen. So one day he just went into like a studio, put his gear on, and took all these studio shots. Because around then, these are the same pictures they used in TNA. These are the same pictures he used himself. They were on his website. They were like on everything.
Yeah, he just probably had a day where,
I own these pictures, brother.
yeah, he was just like, I'll bring in my own photographer and we can use these pictures, but I own the photography. And then that was it.
Yeah. It's just funny, like, picturing him doing that. Oh, I got the Rey Mysterio picture. I will drop it in our chat for you so you could check
Drop it in the notes so everyone that's in the Patreon looking at the notes can see too.
Are you looking at the notes?
I am.
All right, there you go. Then there is Lil Gangsta, who
look at
just a guy from the streets of Brooklyn, and he does these weird sayings, and yeah.
It's
I don't know.
Slashback is...
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger's face.
I would say it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a little John Cena. It's... yeah. And then the name that John and I keep getting wrong, it's Sumo Zilla, but we keep saying it kind of looks like a combination of One Man Gang and Samoa Joe.
The body was Samoa Joe. It was even his TNA gear.
But the head, the facial hair is very One Man Gang, like the mohawk, the goatee, the bigger burly body type. Like the body style is bigger than Joe. Like if this was supposed to be Samoa Joe, it's way too big to be Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm. But all right, let's take a quick break ski here, and we're going to talk about the art style.
All right, so let's jump in and talk about this cover here, which I'm going to use that term lightly. It's a splash screen, if that. It is... We talk about it every time that Hulk Hogan's in a game. This is probably the most Hogan a cover will ever be because it's Hulkamania Wrestling and it's
his game, brother.
Only Hulk Hogan on the cover, big Hulkamania logo, and that's it. So
I would love to see what the icon looked like on the screen.
A boxing ring in the background.
Oh, it is a boxing ring. Okay, so they just bought a stock image.
Boxing ring in the background.
Man, come on, Hogan. You're not going to catch that? That's brutal.
Now we got to catch this. How many years later?
Yeah. The ring itself, like when you get into a match, first of all, the entrances are halfway decent. You got a stage with pyro. You run down to the ring. You pose in the middle of the ramp. You keep going. The crowd looks okay. The ring itself is fine. It's like the Super Brawl ring. It's on the 3/4 angle, or Fire Pro, I guess most of you will know a little bit better. I really, honestly, have no complaints about what the game looks like. Almost at all. The characters look fine. Like Hogan looks like Hogan. The details are there. The weapons are there. The fire looks cool.
Aside from the blatant
barricades, the aprons.
Aside from the blatant ripoff of other IP and characters, I'm with you. Graphically, it doesn't look bad, especially when you take into consideration the year and the platform that it's on. It for a mobile game in 2009, it ain't bad.
I also was very shocked there was no clunkiness in the gameplay, like no delays or nothing stupid.
I think the worst thing that you said was the running.
The running was weird. If you were on that like diagonal axis, it was very hard to run, but other times it did work. Going to top rope was a little weird, but there have been some mobile games with stutters, with just pauses where they shouldn't be.
The input lag is not the best way of putting it, but it's the thing that came to mind first. I don't know if that's like the right term, but
Again, I'm playing on a controller on a Java game, so maybe I had a little bit of a different experience. But I don't know, to be honest, it seemed somewhat okay. There was nothing, even the menu was cool, the music was cool. There was nothing I actually hated. I also appreciated that how hard it was to control the game if you're on a cell phone with the keys, with the numbers, with everything.
Yeah, could you imagine playing this? Like, what is the size of the screen on the BlackBerry?
2 inches, maybe an inch. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
we're not playing on iPhone screens here. These are tiny, tiny little screens.
they gave you the control prompt of what comes up.
Yeah,
So I appreciated that very much because there are some combos you could do. I think to hit a finisher, there's a scroll bar with all different keys you have to hit. I couldn't really do it because I mapped, I don't know, X and Y to 2 and 4, so I couldn't compute that in my brain. So I never hit a finisher, which is fine. I don't really care.
which
But I appreciate it. I appreciate the help.
which after doing some research, I learned a lot of the finishers are other moves that other wrestlers do.
No kidding.
So
Would have
it's
never
all
guessed.
it's all pre-existing animations within the game. Just maybe Hogan doesn't do one of the animations, but like someone else has the pedigree as their finisher.
Yeah, overall, again, where you're going to want to be most of the time is the Hogan story because that's where you're going to unlock the wrestlers, the skyscraper and Vegas arena, and just kind of, I guess, have the most fun. We did it in one sitting. It's a lot of matches, but we did it because it was easy. Say you're on 2009, you're on the pooper. Maybe you're going to do only one match. Maybe you're going to do two. You're not going to run through the whole thing at once. So it does have a little something to keep going back to, I guess we could say.
There are a lot of other things that you can unlock. There's a lot of content. There's like weapons matches and first blood matches, and the only way to unlock those things is to keep going through and continue to play the game. So there is more than just the.
Okay. Oh, not yet.
There is more than just the Hulk story and quick play. Like, that not everything is unlocked right from the get-go. And as you play through Hulk story, you unlock more characters and all that stuff. So there's slight replayability. I don't think this is a game that you're going to go back and play for, 8 months, but
No, but as we mentioned, I think 2 weeks ago, it was a wrestling game on a platform you owned. So why wouldn't you play it? Why wouldn't you try it?
Yeah.
Now, normally I'd hit you with a "Did you know?" But we kind of covered everything. There's really nothing secret about this game that we could. Did you know? It's not available anymore. I can't tell you how much it was on eBay because that doesn't exist. So.
Did you know that there are other Java cell phone wrestling games that I just learned about that we are going to have to play on this podcast?
Can't wait, George.
Yep.
But we can take a step back, grab a seat, relax, put on some music with some R&R, some ratings and reviews. All right, so I have the BlackBerry ratings here. The user average, 3.5 out of 5 stars, which is good. The difficulty, 2 out of 5, which, yeah, I could agree. Once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. The length of hours played is an average of 6 hours. So I guess that is very wowing because we played it for 1 hour and that was enough. But I guess, like we said, if you want to keep going back to it and whatnot, then that's the way to do it. It's a wrestling game on a phone.
It is. Yeah, it's a wrestling game on a phone. There's really, for a game that has so many interesting aspects to it, it's odd that there's not a ton to say about it. Like, I feel like there are so many things that I want to talk about with this game where, on paper, it's a Hulk Hogan wrestling game. There's probably going to be like, a ton of stuff to talk about, but it's really not I don't know. I'm left with with like, I'm at a loss for words on how to properly
Well,
describe this game. This is something that you have to play yourself to fully grasp the concept of.
you better find your words because it's time to rate the game.
Oh, man.
The game!
George Feis, Hulkamania Wrestling. Will you play it forever? Or will you future endeavor?
All right. Try to put myself in the mindset. It's 2009. I've got a BlackBerry. There's a wrestling game on it. From a purely time killer sense of gaming, sure, play it forever. Is it a game that I'm going to pick up and play tomorrow or in like probably ever again in my life? Probably not. I think it's a future endeavor.
Okay, I was waiting for a definitive there.
Johnny Clash. And now
Future endeavor.
Okay.
I saw all I needed to see. I will not go back to it. There's no reason to. Will I one day think like, oh, what was that Hulk Hogan game I played? I'll think
Just go
back,
watch the playthrough.
I'll go watch the playthrough. I'll think back real hard and then be like, all right, that's good. That's enough.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna,
Guys, if you don't want to play this game and you want to experience the entire Hulk story, you can go to our YouTube, youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast, and you can watch the entire thing.
that's true. You can watch a lot of games that way. But yeah, big future endeavor, double future, Hulkamania Wrestling. See ya, kick you to the curb. Goodbye. Remove you from the Hall of Fame again.
Damn. All right. Well, with that, John, are you ready to get into the soft lock?
Yep.
All right, the soft lock is brought to you by our friends over at W. Make sure to go to w.gg and use code GameMarks. Save yourself. Sorry, GameMarksPod is the code. Save yourself 10%.
Everything the ad just told you.
All right, I'm going to stop doing that.
I'm just kidding, George. There's no ad for W. Keep going.
Oh, we recorded an ad for... Oh, yeah. No, no. You recorded an ad for your stuff.
Twitch.tv/Johnny Clash 2 H's. Anyway, let's get on with it.
All right. So we have 2 soft lock questions this week.
Got 2. I was feeling generous.
First soft lock question comes from our friend Justin Summers. Justin's question is, where's your top 3 favorite Pokemon and your favorite Pokemon game?
Pokemon.
I knew you were going to say.
I just love the way you say it. Pokemon.
Do you want me to say Pokemon?
Pokemon. Do you know your top 3 or do you have to think about it?
Favorite game is Legends Arceus for the Switch. It's so vastly different from every other Pokemon game. That's why I love it so much.
I'll pretend that I know what that is.
And then my top 3. So this is my question.
It's always a question.
Well, so I want to make sure I'm doing it right. If your favorite is Blastoise,
Yeah.
are you going to say that it's Squirtle?
No, I'm going to say it's
And
Blastoise.
the whole lineage?
Nope.
Okay. So I'm going Gyarados is my favorite, followed by Dragonite, and then Dragapult from Sword and Shield. I don't expect you to know what that
Don't
is.
know who that is, but 2 of those 3 are in my starting lineup in Silver that I'm playing right now.
All right. So
Silver is my favorite.
Silver's your favorite.
Silver is my favorite because there was so much hype around Johto and just the fact that we were getting something different. We thought we only had 151. Now all of a sudden, this whole new crop comes in, and I thought they were so cool. I always picked Cyndaquil, always. He doesn't make the top 3 because maybe top 5, I would say.
Is that your favorite starter of all time?
No, my favorite. I was always a Squirtle guy.
Okay.
But
we just talked about this.
Yeah, Blastoise is my number 1. always. My number 2 is Lapras.
Oh, that's a good one.
I loved the card growing up, and then I got the Burger King toy. Remember in the little Pokeballs with the keychain? And it was so cool. It just made me just really like Lapras. And when you played the game and you used Surf, it was the little icon of Lapras.
It was always Lapras, regardless of what Pokemon it was.
Yes.
Let me tell you, my third spot, I was really torn. I almost put Arcanine.
Well, mine is actually a fire Pokemon as well. It is Ninetales.
Ooh.
Ninetales is just...
I think I might change Dragapult and put Arcanine in there.
You could.
Yeah,
Arcanine was always a good one, too.
Arcanine's... It's just... I don't know. There's just something so cool about that.
Now, if you ever picked Chikorita, I want you to do something for me right now.
Oh, you going to Dylan Postal this?
I want you to hit...
Reevaluate your life.
I want you to hit unsubscribe and stop listening to this podcast. Don't do that. We need you.
Chikorita turns into Bayleaf, right?
Yeah.
Cyndaquil turns into Quilava.
Yeah, and then Typhlosion.
Oh, yeah. And then what's the...
Bayleaf turns into...
What's the middle
Bayleaf
evolution?
the last?
Bayleaf is the last one.
It's Chikorita.
Oh, no, maybe it's not. No, Bayleaf's the last one.
And then Meganium?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even remember
Meganium's the big one.
I don't even remember that.
And then who's the
Totodile.
That's my
alligator,
dude.
Yeah, he was cool.
Totodile was like, and so I was always a Squirtle starter, but then Totodile came out, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
And I showed you that I named my rival in Silver George. So
yeah.
Every time it's like George wants to fight.
Goddamn right he does.
Yeah. But
let's have a Pokemon battle right now.
Pokemon battle. All right, but let us know what your favorite 3 Pokemon are, and we'll have a little fun with it in your favorite game. But the Elder Spork, our best bitch from the best batch, wants to know, what are your goals for Pod Exchange? What makes you excited for it? Where do you see the brand going in the next year?
So I can tell you right off the bat, the things that I am most excited about for Pod Exchange, besides the fact that it's more friends to make content with, this whole thing, like four friends getting together and making stuff, like content on the internet, I feel like this had a very early version of this happening at the first FWF. Because at the first FWF, in between matches, the people that I hung out with were you, Swoggle, and Shoes.
You know, the first ever Major Wrestling Figure Podcast live show with Sam Roberts was the first time I ever met Shoes. He claims we met at a Rahway show a few years ago. So
was he Shoes then, or was he?
He was Blob. Yeah,
Revolting Blob.
So I probably just knew him as Blob and didn't associate him as the actual human being inside the costume. So, yeah. But
yeah, what about you? I mean, mine is on paper the simplest answer. I'm just really excited to be able to make stuff like more content with friends.
So first of all, I'm glad that we only have 2 shows and they're easy and we're going to have fun with them, and it's not going to be a grind like it was last time around.
It's stuff we know.
It's stuff we know. It's stuff we could do and have fun with it and put out. I think when we have fun, it translates to fun in the episode that we're going to put out. So Clash at the Feast and OMG, it's just going to be a good time. We're both
not
playing...
Future Endeavor. That was a bad idea for a show. Why did we do that?
No, on our own too, not even nothing to feed off of. Pretty bad. But I'm just excited to keep going and make this cool. Eventually, maybe add on some more shows, more podcasts want to come on in. Then, it's not just going to be anyone. We're going to do some vetting and make sure they're the right fit to go with us, and do some collaborative stuff all together. Do some roundtables, and a lot of fun.
Yeah, I feel like the roundtables.
It's a fun group.
I feel like the roundtables are just eventually going to devolve into a Patreon version of State of Affairs, where it's just going to be the 4 of us just yelling at each other about deli sandwiches.
Just Shoes calling Dylan, you small bitch, or whatever he says, and gets me every time.
Put me over, you tiny bitch.
Tiny bitch, that's what it is. You tiny bitch. He's hit him with that a few times so far since we've been together.
It was jarring, the sincerity that he said it with on.
He said it with that power.
Like that small talk where he just unleashed that for the first time. I was like, he just cut a promo on Dylan in the middle of this interview.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh God. All right. Well, I need some more information about what we're playing next week, because this is not a game that I'm familiar with.
So you've heard us talk about them. Friends of mine. We go back to high school. Space Zamboni. They are a YouTube channel. They do.
I am familiar with them.
Yeah, they do podcasts. They do have a lot of funny content. They do skits. Way back in the day, I used to make their website, which had web shows and Java shows and whatnot. They would do stuff with Flash. They're jack of all trades. Funny guys. Great shows. Go check them out on YouTube. Space Zamboni. We're going to be doing an episode together next week with them. They said, what game do you want to play? Maybe we'll play a wrestling adjacent game. Maybe not something completely wrestling. Maybe we'll go to both realms here. And we have chosen Celebrity Combat. Now, this is a game on Steam. It's a fighting game. Looks kind of like Soul Calibur. But it's, I guess, or you could say Mortal Kombat.
Celebrity?
But it features celebrities as the people you pick. It's Keanu Reeves is in there, The Rock. I think the Pope is in there, Nicki Minaj.
What?
Yeah. This is going to be a fun one.
Snoop Dogg? The Rock?
Yeah. Cardi
Angelina
B.
Jolie?
John Cena's in there.
Lady Gaga?
Taylor Swift is in there. Amber Heard.
What?
Johnny Depp.
John Cena's in it?
Yeah, I just said that.
Sorry, I'm reading them as they pop up.
No, a lot of these are just the Fortnite roster, but
it's true.
Yeah, Ariana Grande, Fortnite alumni. But
Jay-Z,
I think that should be cool.
Kanye, what is this game?
Open you guys up to a new podcast called Space Zamboni. Open their guests up to us, and we're gonna see what we could do. We've been friends for a while, and finally getting it done. 5 years into the podcast.
I don't know what the right word is. I am flabbergasted by this game.
You know what, George? That's the right word.
All right. Well, guys, youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast for our weekly playthrough videos and a whole lot more. GameMarksPod.com/shop for our exclusive merchandise. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod for our shirts. Patreon.com/PodExchange. That is Patreon.com/PodXChange. I was wondering how long it was going to
nation.
I was wondering how long it was going to take. I knew someone. If maybe the first time I did it,
the way you spelled it out, POD, I had to.
Man, all the content.
Every day is a new day. That is them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For every breath I take. At Game Marks Pod on all forms of social media, and please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Crisp and clean as ever, John. Beautiful. And leave us 5-star rating and a review for this podcast on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you have a product or service you would like to advertise on this podcast, you can reach out to us at GameMarksPod@gmail.com. Johnny Clash, whenever you're ready.
Game over. Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.